Hello and welcome to my channel, and it's Friday. It's time for some strange facts. Let's see what we've got today. Factoids. Okay, my husband says these are not facts, but anyway, let's have a bit of fun. The average male gets bored out of a shopping trip after 26 minutes. Meanwhile, women don't get tired of shopping until around 2 hours. So next time you see a couple in a retail store with a bored looking boyfriend, you know they've been out for more than half an hour. This isn't happening currently, but anyway. I dispute that fact. It's 2 minutes. My husband says he's bored after 2 minutes. In the 16th century, Turkish women could initiate a divorce if their husbands didn't pour coffee for them. Wow. Today this would be unheard of, but back then coffee was an integral part of Turkish society. So much so, it was grounds, excuse the pun, for divorce. No one knows exactly knows why this was acceptable, but the fact remains it was. Recycling one glass jar saves enough energy to watch TV for 3 hours. Hey, that's pretty cool. Yep, that's about how important recycling is. The average person has a chance to recycle 25,000 cans in their lifetime. That's 75,000 hours of television. That's a really cool fact if it's true. After the premiere of 16 and Pregnant, teen pregnancy rates dropped. MTV may not have the most wholesome programs, but after the premiere of this show, teen pregnancy dropped by 5.7% within 18 months of the show airing. Approximately 10 to 20% of US power outages are caused by squirrels. Harmless and cute as they seem, these fuzzy little creatures aren't as innocent as you think. Squirrels have a tendency of chewing the wires, but luckily it's a simple fix. What, like killing the squirrel or something? Facebook, Instagram and Twitter are all banned in China. Those aren't the only ones either. Over 1,000 domain names are blocked. Other major banned social network sites include Pinterest and Tumblr. You might get some breaks while I take a sip of tea. 95% of people text things they would never say in person, or could never say in person. Are you guilty of this? And the author of this says, I know I am. No, I tend to write what I think I would probably do in person. I try to be true to myself. Honeybees can recognize human faces. I did know this. Whereas before it was thought that only large-brained animals could distinguish faces, honeybees can do so as well. They see faces in a compilation of 5,000 individual images, kind of like pixels. Wow. The Battle of Hastings in 1066 did not take place in Hastings. The famous Battle of Hastings actually took place 7 miles from Hastings in a town that's known as Battle. Fitting, right? When trying to find the cure of AIDS, the Mayo Clinic made glow-in-the-dark cats. Cool. This was due to using a special protein that was fluorescent green. They used this protein to find out if the tests worked. If the animal glowed, the outcome was successful. That's pretty nifty. I wouldn't mind a cat that glowed in the dark. You'd at least see it. A swarm of 20,000 bees followed a car for 2 days because their queen was stuck inside. When the car parked, the thousands of bees swarmed onto the car and had to be taken off by beekeepers. The next day, the bees were back on the car because the queen was still inside, and the swarm had to be taken off again. If that's true, that's really, really incredible. I mean, I know that they follow their queen, but that's truly incredible.
Did you just say if it's true?
Yeah,
so
if
you're saying
it's true.
It's not a fact?
I don't know. I haven't proven these. Nearly 3% of the ice in Antarctic glaciers is penguin urine. Ew! That's kind of gross. Nearly 3% of the ice in Antarctic glaciers is penguin urine. So never eat ice out in the wild, guys. Because the temperature in Antarctic is well below zero, the urine can't evaporate and just combines with the glaciers. Ugh, yuck. Bob Dylan's real name is Robert Zimmerman. Yeah, his full name was Robert Allen Zimmerman. He started going by Bob Dylan early in his career for no real reason, simply because he wanted to. A crocodile cannot poke his tongue out. Hers. It's Because their tongues are attached to the roof of their mouths, crocodiles cannot stick their tongues out, although their very similar counterparts, alligators, can. Sea otters hold hands while they sleep so they don't drift away from each other. I really hope that you have seen some photos of otters floating in the water with their arms looped. It's so, so cute. This is a method mostly used by a mother and her pup to prevent them from separating. Other than holding hands, they may also wrap themselves in kelp to keep them from drifting away. Yeah, they look really, really cute because they lie on their backs and they also crack shellfish on a stone on their tummy. They're very, very clever and cute little, well, they're not so little, but cute creatures. A small child could swim through the veins of a blue whale. Yeah, that's quite scary. If you consider how large a blue whale's heart is the size of a small car, it's no surprise that a small child around 3 or 4 years old could swim through the massive veins of a blue whale. If Sophie could swim. Bin Laden's death was announced on the 1st of May 2011. Hitler's death was announced on the 1st of May 1945. Both the leaders were announced on the same day, but due to the time difference, Bin Laden actually died on May 2nd. The announcement was made in the US, which was hours enough ahead to still be May 1st. J.K. Rowling chose the unusual name Hermione, so young girls couldn't be teased for being nerdy. The name Hermione comes from Shakespeare's A Winter's Tale. Rowling says she chose the name. She didn't want a lot of fairly hard-working little girls to be teased if ever the book was published. Okay. Hewlett-Packard, also known as HP. Name was decided in a coin toss in 1939. The name was always going to be a hyphenation of the two founders' last names, so in order to decide between Hewlett-Packard, Packard-Hewlett, they flipped a coin. There is a total of 1,710 steps in the Eiffel Tower. That's 1,710 steps to those of you who use your numbers like that. And I've probably been, I think I've been up to level 2 in the Eiffel Tower. It stands at 108 stories tall. There are 1,710 steps to get to the top of the Eiffel Tower. However, guests are only allowed to climb the stairs until the first platform. From there, they must take the lift to the top. I think that's as far as I got when I was there in 2014. The Pokemon Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan are based off Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. The third Pokemon of the Hitmons is also named after a martial artist. Hitmontop is named after the lesser-known martial artist Larry Top. A woman tried to commit suicide by jumping off the Empire State Building. She jumped from the 86th floor but was blown back onto the 85th floor by a gust of wind. Standing almost 1,500 feet tall, there is no way anyone could survive that fall. However, when Elvita Adams tried to kill herself by jumping, a strong gust of wind blew her to the floor below. The worst injury she sustained was a fractured hip. That would be a woman I would like to see followed up on. Did she regret that she wasn't successful, or was she thankful that she wasn't successful? Because that is quite incredible. That was like somebody saying, "You're not dying today." That's just freaky in the norm. Pirates wore earrings because they believed it improved their eyesight. Along with many other reasons, due to superstitions, they thought it protected them from bad eyesight or even blindness, seasickness and drowning. Los Angeles' full name, do you know this before I say anything? Los Angeles' full name, and they've got S's after the apostrophes, good God, is, excuse my Spanish pronunciation, El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora La Reina de Los Angeles de Porciuncula. Sylvia, please help me here. The original name is quite a mouthful. It translates to the town of Our Lady of the Queen of Angels and of the river Porciuncula. Now Los Angeles is just the Angels. The Twitter bird actually has a name, and that's Larry. The name comes from Larry Bird, who is a famous Hall of Fame basketball player. The species of Larry the bird still remains a secret. Okay, another bad grammar here. Excuse me while I take some tea before I choke. Octopuses, octopi, have 4 pairs of arms. The 6 of an octopus octopus's tentacles serve as arms, while the other 2 are their legs. They use 6 tentacles just to eat. Okay, right. In the popular sitcom Parks and Recreation, the writers had no idea Nick Offerman was a talented saxophone player until they wrote the Duke Silver plotline. Nick Offerman has played the saxophone his whole life, so when the writer wrote about his character being a secret jazz musician, the coincidence was perfect. It has snowed in the Sahara Desert for 30 minutes on the 18th of February 1979. So far, it's the only known time in history that it has snowed in the Sahara. Unsurprisingly, the snow melted away very quickly. Mike Tyson once offered a zoo attendant $10,000 to let him fight a gorilla. As it is, Tyson bribed a worker to open the zoo for just he and his wife to see the animals. While on a romantic stroll, he tried to also bribe the zookeeper to let him fight a gorilla. The zoo attendant said no. Probably should have let him, because that would have been the end of stupid questions. ABBA turned down a $1 billion deal to do a reunion tour. In 2000, ABBA was offered $1 billion to reunite for 100 shows, which would have been $250 million per member. They turned it down because it wasn't for them. In the meantime, we have ABBA-esque, and there's another ABBA group that come around Australia that must be making a killing. There has never been a verified snow leopard attack on a human being. Unlike many other big cats, snow leopards are not aggressive towards humans. They are very reclusive creatures, and even if they're disturbed, they're more likely to run away than to attack. If you look, I actually follow a photographer on Facebook, Megan, who does wildlife photography, and she does, amongst other things, bobcats, but she also has, I think, snow leopards, and they just look like, yeah, big, fluffy fur balls. The first alarm clock could only ring at 4 a.m. Invented in 1787, Levi Hutchins needed a way to wake up in time for work, so he made the alarm clock. It took almost 100 years for the wind-up alarm clock to be invented, so it could be set to any time. Okay, here's a slightly gross fact. Birds don't urinate. Contrary to what most mammals do, birds convert nitrogen to uric acid. They get rid of this uric acid through the same place they get rid of all their waste, their anus. Joys. Oh! Here's a great one for the current thingy that's floating around in the air at the moment. Dying is illegal in the House of Parliament. This is the UK House of Parliament. Strange as it is, this law is in place because anyone who dies in the Houses of Parliament is entitled to a state funeral. This has been voted as the most ridiculous law by the British citizens. The most venomous jellyfish in the world is the irukandji. Irukandji? Well, it's not the most deadly... Hang on. The most venomous jellyfish in the world is the irukandji. While it's not the most deadly, it is number 2. Even more shocking, this tiny jellyfish is smaller than your fingernail. Its venom is 100 times more powerful than a cobra's. The 20th of March... Okay... is Snowman Burning Day. I'm just boggle-minded. This strange holiday was spawned by American and Swiss citizens to symbolize the end of the winter season. If you're wondering, I have no idea how you burn a snowman. Queen Elizabeth can't sit on the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones. Okay. Queen Elizabeth visited the set of Game of Thrones, but because of an obscure rule, she wasn't allowed to sit on it. The ruling monarch can't sit on a foreign throne, even if it's fictional, apparently. That's really cool. There is an official wizard of New Zealand. Why am I not surprised? In 1990, the Prime Minister of New Zealand appointed Ian Brackenbury Channel, who was an old friend, as the Wizard of New Zealand. He was even given an annual stipend. If you're planning a trip to the country where Lord of the Rings was filmed, I have more facts on there. An apple, potato, and onion all taste the same if you eat them with your nose plugged. Don't try that at home. Don't eat raw potatoes. They are poisonous. If our sense of smell is made up of 80% Sorry, our sense of taste is 80% made up of the sense of smell. If you were to blindfold yourself and plug your nose, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between an apple, a potato, and an onion. Vincent van Gogh only sold one painting in his lifetime. Just a few months before his death, Van Gogh sold his painting The Red Vineyard. It was sold in Brussels, Belgium for 400 francs. Company in Taiwan makes dinnerware out of wheat so you can eat your plate. Not only do they make plates out of wheat, but spoons, bowls, chopsticks as well. The plates can be kept for months as long as they stay dry. The average person walks an equivalent of 5 times around the world in their lifetime. Some do a bit more than others. Assuming the average person lives until they're 80, they will walk about 110,000 miles in their lifetime. The circumference of the equator is 24,900 miles. Michael Jackson offered to make a Harry Potter musical, but J.K. Rowling rejected the idea. Thank God for that. Rowling defended herself because she said she turned down a lot of adaptation opportunities, and Michael Jackson's just happened to be one of them. The world record for stuffing drinking straws into your mouth at once is 459. An Indian called Manoj Kumar Maharana from India broke the world record on the 28th of August 2017 for stuffing 459 drinking straws into his mouth at once. In order to break it, he had to keep them in his mouth for at least 10 seconds. Now, it doesn't say here whether they were skinny straws or the big chunky kind of McDonald's kind of straws that you can get, or anything like that. Because there are skinny straws and you will fit a lot more of those in. Nutella, funnily enough, the image on this is the exact same image for the nut as it was for the onion further up the page. Nutella was invented during World War II when hazelnuts were mixed into chocolate to extend chocolate rations. In an effort to extend his chocolate rations during World War II, an Italian pastry maker mixed hazelnuts into chocolate. That's pretty cool. I personally prefer the chocolate. In 2011, more than 1 in 3 divorce filings in the US contained the word Facebook. References to social media networks are on the rise when it comes to a divorce case, as well as child custody cases. According to Genesis 1:20-22, the chicken came before the egg. Depending on your beliefs, these Genesis verses state that God created birds, not eggs, that would hatch into birds. This includes chicken. There is your answer! Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, the Bible tells it, so it's got to be true, if that's your thing. Honeybees can get drunk on fermented tree sap. It affects bees in a similar way that alcohol affects humans, causing flying accidents. And making it difficult to get back to the hive. Sober bees at the hive will attack drunken bees to prevent them from entering the hive. If only we did the same as a community. Tears contain natural painkiller, which reduces pain and improves your mood. It's actually an endorphin, which is why you can tend to feel better after a good cry. So next time you feel the need to break down, don't be shy. I'm going to say that one again because it's actually quite important, especially given what's going on currently. Tears contain a natural painkiller, which reduces pain and improves your mood. It's actually an endorphin, which is why you can feel better after a good cry. So if you feel that you need to have a good cry, please do. Don't think that you're too big for these. Squirrels forget where they hide about half of their nuts. While not all squirrels bury their nuts, the ones that do only recover around 26% of their nuts. 26 is a long way short of 50%. Anyway, these people don't do numbers. Millions of birds a year die from smashing into windows in the US alone. The actual number is somewhere between 365 million and 988 million birds. While the exact number of the bird population is uncertain, it comes to about 2 to 10% of birds in the United States. There's probably a good reason for having dirty windows here. Dolly Parton lost a Dolly Parton look-alike contest. She entered a Dolly Parton... Oh, jeez. This is for you, Unica. Dolly Parton entered a Dolly Parton themed drag queen contest, did her hair and makeup more dramatically, and not only lost, but received the least applause. Gosh, I have to say, Tommy, drag queens do it so well. You guys, you have so much fun. George W. Bush was once a cheerleader. Bush was a cheerleader at high school and continued to be one while he attended Yale. In high school, he was even promoted to head cheerleader. I didn't know guys did cheerleading. Please inform me of this. Hang on. In total, there are 205 bones in the skeleton of a horse. Even though they are much greater in size than humans, we have 206. Horses have just about the same number of bones in their skeleton as we do. That is an interesting little fact. Coca-Cola owns all website URLs that can be read as all the way up to 62 H's. The 2013 digital campaign by Coca-Cola spurred the company to purchase all 62 URLs. Each year there are more than 40,000 toilet-related injuries in the US. There's probably going to be a lot more now that there's toilet roll missing. Some of these make sense, like a child or infant falling in. Others are attributed to toilet seats falling down or complications due to bowel movements. Strawberries can be red, yellow, green or white. That's just down to the level of maturity. I've seen all these colours. Before it's ripe, it's red. Before it's ripe and red, it will be green. Yellow strawberries are a different type altogether called alpine strawberries. Mewtwo, another Pokemon question, or fact, is a clone of the Pokemon Mew, yet it comes before Mew in the Pokedex. Because Mewtwo was in the Pokemon game, but Mew was only acquired through events at the time. Mewtwo was given the number 150, while Mew is number 151. 150 being the original Pokemon. See, I know some things. My kids were into Pokemon. 4 people lived in a home for 6 months. Okay. I'm going to struggle with this one. 4 people lived in a home for 6 months infested with about 2,000 brown recluse spiders, but none of them were harmed. Okay. Well, the brown recluse is one of the 3 spiders in North America with venom that requires medical treatment. They are hardly ever aggressive. That could have gone a lot worse than I was expecting. Madonna suffers from brontophobia, which is a fear of thunder. The scary sounding word isn't so complicated, it's fear of thunder. Madonna is so scared of it that she's been known to frequently check weather reports before shows. The fear of thunder is also known as astrophobia, astropophobia, coronophobia, or tonitrophobia. Alright, my time is round about up on this. You've probably had about 60 factoids, give or take. I know some of them to be true, I know some of them to be false, or, questionable, but I hope you've enjoyed some crazy facts for this Friday, and you come back again next Friday. Bye for now.